Steve do his online videos with his colleagues back in his day job will know that this is going to be an interesting chat, I suspect. Steve, let's start off by you telling us a wee bit more about you and what you do.
Oh, well, thank you for the introduction. Hope I live up to it. And thank you for the invite to come on here today, Alison. I appreciate it. Well, I'm Steve. I'm the Business Development Manager for ITWORX. We're a company who provide IT support, cybersecurity strategies, things like that for many companies of every size to offices throughout the world. I've been with the company for just over a year with years, and pretty firm foundation built for the future there. Personally, I've been in business development for, well, 25 years now, which over a few different sectors, but 25 years sort of pleases me but terrifies me at the same time, that accelerating downhill as fast as possible. And also, in addition, you said that recently became the VP of the Chamber, which I'm enjoying very much. I'm a business mentor through Scottish Chambers as well. So I've got quite a few things in the go.
Keeps you out of mischief then, Steve.
Almost.
Tell us what you like best about what you do. Is there a story to that?
Well, I mean, there sort of is a wee peek behind the curtain, and it's a pre-watershed one, so don't worry. For those who don't know me that well, back in the dim and distant past, when I was a teenager, I suffered massively from shyness and lack of confidence and things like that, to the point of feeling physically ill with nerves when I was in the company with anybody. But when I turned 18, I was basically a complete and utter waste of space. Wasn't a very good human being, wasn't doing very well in anything, was dotting from bad job to bad job, and then I was pretty much forced by my parents on the point of leaving their homestead pretty quickly to go and get a job, and went and got a job in a bar in Aberdeen that was basically fully stacked with sociopaths. It was a terrible place to work. It was awful. The violence was indescribable. The banter was as sharp as you can possibly imagine. However, the thing about that experience was I was there for about 10 months. And over that 10-month period, built up my body, built up my mind, built up my communication skills and stuff like that. And coming out of it, even over that 10-month period, I was no longer shy. I wasn't scared. I wasn't nervous. To the point that many would say I've went by far and away the opposite direction now, to maybe tending towards overconfidence now and again. And it had a huge effect on my life. It was formative for me. But so I mean, to get back to the original question, from spending my formative years not wanting to do anything with anyone, I'm now somebody who thrives in the energy of others. I love talking to people. I love hearing their stories, their successes, the troubles they're going through. And thankfully, my job is based just purely on communication. So it's pretty much just as well. I enjoy it and I got used to it.
Yeah, and I mean, you talked about mentoring, and I know that you've helped other people who, you know, maybe wouldn't have thought of themselves as natural networkers or kind of were quite introverted and found it really difficult to strike up conversations. So, you know, it's I think that's the interesting thing, isn't it, about the way the chamber network tends to work, is people are happy to kind of share their personal experiences. So that sounds like it was an incredible and early experience for you.
Aye, I mean, it was. I look back at it now and laugh my ass off at some of the stuff that happened, but it terrified me at the time. I mean, some of the things that happened were ridiculous. I eventually laughed because somebody stabbed me with a broken bottle. I mean, this was a scary kind of place, but it just flicked a switch in me. To be fair, I'd rather it flicked a switch in 10 minutes rather than 10 months, but it did eventually. But I can still look back at that time and remember what I felt like. So from the mentoring point of view, I do get asked a lot because I do enjoy networking. I look like I'm good at it. Being 6'7" cubed is a big advantage because it means people remember me and can see me coming. But people say, look, you make it seem natural. But what they miss is that 10 minutes of self-doubt in the car of me going, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I'm going, car in reverse. No, I need to go, car back in the park. The networking is not an easy thing to do. Nobody is a natural networker. It's it's a difficult journey to get through. You just have to accept that everybody's in the room together for the same thing. They're all in the room for the same purpose. And I've never had somebody turn around to me at a networking event and say, "No, I don't want to talk to you." And I've never seen it happen to anybody. So go into it with a positive mindset and you'll get something out of it. Just don't be scared.
Mm-hmm. No, that's really good advice. One thing that I'm asking all the people as they're doing these interviews is what their favourite thing is about Dundee and Angus. So have you got something?
I assume you mean except for the vibrant and growing Chamber of Commerce, yeah?
Obviously.
I mean, I'm not. People will probably tell or know me and can tell the accent isn't exactly Tayside. So I've lived in the region for about 7 years in Carnoustie, now in Brechin, and I've worked here for maybe about 5 years. There's still surprises in the region, I'm sure there is. I do like that living in the glamorous metropolis of Brechin, that I'm only half an hour away from Dundee and Aberdeen, so I can easily access city life. But I can also jump in the car, drive in any direction for 5 minutes, and I can be in the middle of absolutely nowhere. Normal times, there's plenty for me to do with the kids. I've got 2 young daughters who are 9 and 11, so it's great. I mean, obviously things have closed down a wee bit now because of COVID, etc. But there's nice things to do out and about with the children. I think there could be more. I've seen some staggering things worldwide for kids to do, and I think it would be great to attract something major to the region for the young folk. But there is still plenty to do at this point, yeah.
Sounds. I mean, I see some of the kind of experiences you have when you're away, and some of the things that you can see in other parts of the world. It would be great to import some of that, wouldn't it? I know we've often talked about that.
Yeah, I think it's difficult because we're also not a centre of population. Our nearest major centres of population are an hour and a half down the road, and really, if you're going for proper population, you're down to Manchester, Birmingham area. But I think there's still opportunities here to have, as we've shown with the V&A, there's an opportunity to have a world-class attraction in Dundee, in the Dundee and Angus area. And I think the grown-ups have got their thing now. I'd love to see something for the kids. And that's an altruistic thing, because by the time it happens, my kids will be too old to enjoy it anyway. So I think it's just, there would be something great about having this thing in this area.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Maybe it'll be the Eden Project. I'm very interested to see what becomes of that.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. And looking at the e-game arena as well. I mean, if something like that comes along, there was talk in the past about the comic museum down at the waterfront as well. Something along those kind of lines will continue to put the region on the map and be something for another generation of people.
Definitely. Okay, another thing that I'm just asking everybody is, what's your favourite time of year and why?
Well, because of the kids, there's still in the ages they're at, there's always a big deal made about Halloween and Christmas. I mean, Halloween planning starts in about July in our house. So there's a great deal of excitement for them, and obviously in reflection to me, although I am not dressing up to go trick and treating. Any time I've got them for holidays is fantastic. I love getting away in the sunshine, as you well know, if you're keeping up with the Facebook. And to be even here, the autumn, this period of time, the changes in the landscape are spectacular. The colour of the trees and stuff like that, I get a big kick out of. Commercially, I think any time that isn't the school holidays is great, because these do tend to affect your possibility of getting hold of people and getting decisions made and things. That several weeks over summer is a bit of a low period for me personally, out there looking for new business. But commercially, probably looking at springtime, because you're looking at a lot of end of financial years, things like that. That tends to be when a lot of our contracts renew. It's when a lot of other IT companies' contracts renew or don't as well. So yeah.
Brilliant. Now, we're not in full lockdown at the moment. I've been talking to people and doing these interviews since kind of April time, and this question was really kind of geared up when we were properly locked down. We're a bit restricted at the moment. There's all sorts of threats of other lockdown, but what's the thing that you're missing most about the restrictions and the lockdown?
I don't. It's probably still face-to-face interaction. I know we have this here, but it's not the same. 'Cause I know how much you like a hug when we first meet you because you want everybody to do that. I know that. But my whole working life is driven by meeting clients in their offices or sitting in the mall, maison, or in Landmark or something, having a cup of coffee and a chat. And whilst I'm doing that to an extent just now, it's maybe a few times a week, whereas 7, 8 months ago it was a few times a day. Uh, so really, probably would be that more than anything. Personally, having as many social places open and stuff. I do still like a night out and things like that, even at my age. And having a lack of that, do live music on the go. I miss live music. Yeah, there's a few things that I didn't really realise I would miss. Even missing taking the kids to soft play in Dundee. I never thought I'd miss a soft play. However, here we find ourselves. So yeah, just the stuff that I would have taken for granted before, that I would take for granted again.
Yeah, yeah. Tell us how your work has changed during the crisis and what the future's holding.
I mean, it's also been a challenge for me looking for new business and having the face-to-face things I kicked out the park for a while. I've had training from big companies like Xerox and Apple and mentored by many great leaders and managers and things like that, but nobody's ever taught me how to sell in a pandemic. So that's causing a problem. I'm getting a foothold on it now, but it has taken a bit of time, coming off a furlough and stuff and coming back into it again where we're maybe in lockdown, but we're maybe not, and we're always waiting for that 12:15 press conference to see what's happening tomorrow. So that's been difficult. Zoom and Teams fatigue, I think, is beginning to kick in a lot of people as well. I'm popping paracetamols like Smarties because I'm at the time I'm in front of screens rather than cutting about the place with Spotify on my way to a meeting. So it's trying to get used to that is tough as well. I mean, as for the future, ITWORX have a very solid foundation of great clients that we've looked after really well. The amount of feedback I've had from clients about the seamless transition we gave them moving from the office to working from home and having no issues around that has been fantastic. And the future's pretty bright for us, I think. There's obviously a reticence for companies to spend money just now because they want to know what's happening in 2 months' time, what's happening in 3 months' time. There's all the scare stories going around and stuff like that. And it's tough for people to make budgetary decisions. But from our present client base, we're really strong and getting a pretty strong pipeline as well for the next 6 months. So we've navigated that really well. And I get a personal thing for me, before this all kicked off in like February time, I basically agreed I would work from home anyway, because I spend so much of my time in client offices and hotels and coffee shops and stuff like that. It was really worth me driving all the way up to Aberdeen and back. So we'd already arranged for me to work from home about a month before this all happened. So it's not been a massive effect for me, to be honest. I'm slowly getting to grips with the whole thing, but it's major changes. And I think in addition, it's knowing how the person you're trying to communicate with wants to be communicated like. If that makes sense, are they more comfortable with a phone call or a video call or an email or a LinkedIn message or a text, and it's trying to get to the bottom of that and remembering who likes what. I think it's a tough thing just now as well.
Yeah, that's it. And it's interesting, isn't it, that you just can't really do all the things you might want to do, which leads me really nicely to my next question. Thank you for that segue.
To be fair, that wasn't on purpose.
When we're more freely able to get out and about, what would be on your lockdown escape bucket list? As if I didn't know.
Oh, Dubai next.
Tell everybody about what goes on and how much you love it.
I need a shisha in the Rio Star Cafe in Dera City Centre. I need it. I love out I love the Middle East region. I love the weather, the people, the culture. It's not just Dubai itself. I mean, I love Dubai because it's a great hub to go other places. So if I'm there on my own without the kids, I'll take a couple of days in Kuwait City. I'll go to Tehran for a couple of days. I'll go to Muscat for a couple. That kind of thing. If I have the kids, or Kidzania, Legoland, the water parks, things like that, there's so much to see and do. And it's not really just the obvious bling of the tall buildings and the expensive shops and stuff. I mean, I'm more comfortable in the crappiest, seediest shisha bar possible, having a smoke of the pipe and sitting having a Turkish coffee and trying to strike up a conversation badly with a local. It's and I like the sunshine, and I need the sunshine. I actually got away in March just before and just made it back before Armageddon started. So I'm glad I managed to get that booked in, and I'm booked to go back on the 30th of December for the whole let's try and set fire to Burj Khalifa with 4 million fireworks fiesta. So I'm crossing my fingers that will be possible, but I'm not convinced it will be, to be fair. I think New Year's Eve may be spent in a flat in Brecon watching Only an Excuse and a repeat a still game. Hey, fingers crossed, you never know. You never know.
If you had a message for people out there about the things you've learned yourself about the world of work and business, what would it be?
I mean, there's always a few pithy statements that you pick up if you know over your years. If you don't ask, you don't get is probably the biggest one I can remember. But I mean, above all, just be yourself. I mean, I did spend my first years in sales trying to flex my personality or my delivery style or something to suit the person I was talking to. But it's a short-term cheat. You're never going to get through that. And I mean, I know you'll find this unbelievably difficult to grasp, Alison, but not everybody likes me. I know that's shocking news to anybody who's watching this.
Poker face.
Quite frankly, I don't care. If there's someone that somebody doesn't like about me, I'm not going to change that if they can't accept who I am. Why would I want to spend my time with them or do business with them if I'm having to act up in a different kind of way? So back in the day when I would have done anything for a deal, not quite anything, but not far off it, I realised that not every pound you take in is a good pound. I'd rather spend my time working with people who I enjoy spending time with, who enjoy spending time with me, and we both get something personally out of the relationship as well, rather than it being a grudge on either side. So yeah, really just never change who you are just to please somebody else. Will be it.
I like it.
Sorry if you're looking for something a bit more highbrow.
Wise words, indeed. Yeah. Yeah. And if you don't ask, you don't get was one of my mum's favourites. So I really like that.
Aye, Shy Burns getting out, that kind of thing.
Absolutely.
It is just asking. I mean, people do. I don't know how you can do sales. It must be scary asking for a sale. It's not great, to be fair. And if somebody says no, the first time it happens, it's a killer. I mean, it's an absolute and utter heartbreak, and it takes you weeks to go over the first time somebody says no. See, by the 500th time somebody says no, done. It's finished. It's just you get over it as quickly as the word no, and it gets better all the time. And there's just no point in putting yourself through the mill to try and do it any different way.
Yeah, I mean, I think we find that in the chamber too. The people that get what we're about and that want to engage are the ones that it's much more natural for, and we're able to find so many more kind of ways to support and connect people. And you're absolutely right. You don't necessarily want to force somebody's hand either, because it just, whether it's you selling to them or whether it's us, forming a relationship with them, it's got to feel right too, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. And like the chamber networking and stuff, you guys put the opportunity out there. And if people want to take up the opportunity, fine, they will. If they don't, there's no point in forcing people in to do it because they won't get enough out of it. And it is, to me, it's all about, I try and get quickly from the guy at ITWORX to Big Steve. I try and make that journey pretty quick so that the person I'm talking to actually knows me as a person, likes me as a person, because people buy from people. Here's a pithy statement for you. And it's about shortening that journey as much as you possibly can, but it's only worth doing if you're going to get something out of it yourself. And it has to be a personal thing. It's not. I'm not talking about getting a purchase order. I'm talking about getting some kind of personal growth out of it too.
Yep. Well, that leads me very nicely on to the last thing, which is how do people get in touch with you if you want to chat?
My email address is steve@itworksuk.com. ITWORX has got an X at the end of it. Or you can message me on LinkedIn. As you well know, I'm never really off LinkedIn, so a message on there is always gratefully received and swiftly dealt with, unlike a message on Facebook Messenger, which normally takes about a day. Sorry. But yeah, get them on there, and be happy to have a chat with anybody about anything IT related, business related, Chamber of Commerce related, Tottenham Hotspur related, cheese sandwich related, anything at all. Always happy for a chat.
Brilliant. Well, thanks so much, Steve. It's been a pleasure interviewing you and kind of hearing a bit more and kind of just getting some answers to some of these questions. If you are watching us and you're watching this video, you might be seeing it on the YouTube channel that the Chamber's got. Maybe it's appeared out on our social media, or it may be on our new website, which is coming soon. So massive thanks to Steve. Really appreciate it. If you would like to take part in our Take a Seat member interviews, then please give us a shout and we'd love to have a chat. So thanks for your time, Steve. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.